Venus, the planet of love, is probably the most well-known planet even for people who are not into astrology. And I find it quite fascinating how love always seems to be the thing that everybody knows about. However, in astrology, Venus also rules over beauty and money. Quick announcement, you will find a free PDF in the description box down below. Just enter your email address and you will receive an overview of each planet with its characteristics and a few questions to help you identify how the planet shows up in your life. Hello and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Chada. In this series, we're looking at the planets from astrology to discover or understand the different parts of ourselves better. As I mentioned in the introduction video, the planets do not represent how something is expressed, but rather that something is being expressed. So if you haven't watched the introduction video for the planet series, I recommend you do. It will just give you a deeper understanding on how it all works and how it all comes together basically. So ever since ancient time, Venus was associated with beauty and love. One of the most fascinating facts about the planet Venus from an astronomical point of view is the geometric pattern it creates after an 8-year cycle around the sun. This pattern is known as the pentagram of Venus. And what's so fascinating about it is that it looks like a flower or like a rose. So I find it incredibly fascinating that the ancient cultures attributed love and beauty to the one planet that represents a rose or a flower, and flowers have always symbolically represented love. Those kind of coincidences you will actually find throughout astrology, like when you look at the astronomical characteristics of a planet and the symbolic representation of that planet, you will often see that they kind of match or mirror one another. In Greek mythology, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty and pleasure, represents the Venus theme in astrology. While Aphrodite was celebrated for her beauty, she was also known to be very vain and to seek vengeance if her beauty was questioned, which highlights the duality that is shown in everything. Like even the most beautiful thing has a dark side to it. Therefore, Venus rules over the following topics. First of all, love. In the romantic sense, it's not so much about the physical expression of love, but rather how we experience romance and affection when we are being wooed by someone else, like that feeling of being in love. So it's about making things exciting and fun and those butterflies in your stomach feeling, as well as what attracts us to others. What do we find attractive in another person? She also rules over beauty and aesthetics. Our appreciation for art, being it in painting or music, like what style do we prefer over another? It's really this feeling of what do we perceive as beautiful. So the phrase "the beauty lies in the eye of the beholder" really applies to that Venus energy. It's really what we consider beautiful, not necessarily what objectively speaking might be beautiful. It's also that feeling of what leaves us in awe because we are so mesmerized by it. She also rules over money and values. How do we handle our finances? Where do we spend our money? What do we consider worth spending our money on? And in terms of values, what values do we hold in our lives? What is important to us? So Venus influences our ability to romanticize our life, to make life more beautiful just for the sake of doing it. She's also about our ability to enjoy and indulge in the pleasures of life that have no specific purpose, just for the pure joy of it. On the other hand, she can also lead to overindulgence because we get so lost in those pleasures that this is all we basically do, and therefore kind of lose that sense of self-control. The best example that I would give you would be food, for example. Like if you're indulging in those good foods to the point where it has a negative effect for you. As mentioned in the other planet videos, the planet does not represent how something shows up, but rather what shows up. In Venus's case, it's about our ability to enjoy life and our sense of beauty. What do we consider beautiful? To wrap it up, take a moment to reflect. How do you spend your money and what do you spend it on? How do you feel about indulging in the pleasures of life? Do you have a hard time allowing yourself that, or are you indulging a little bit too much? And when it comes to love, what do you find attractive and what makes you feel cherished and admired? Recognizing these patterns will help you to work with that energy inside of you better, understanding where you are at and what you might want to work on and how. If you like this video, you might want to check out the video on Aphrodite from the Greek god series. It's gonna be in the description box down below. It will give you a deeper or another layer to understand this archetypal energy of romance and the pleasures of life. In regards on how it might show up, we will be covering this in the zodiac sign series that will be coming out soon. Otherwise, this is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next one.